Boom, Familia, it happened. The X-Men 97 Season 2 trailer leaked online. Now, I didn't go to the panel. I was at a gig last night in Pittsburgh and I drove back in the middle of the night and I didn't get back to Hoboken, New Jersey, of all places. And I slept in. I never even registered for the Marvel television panel. I'm not a big panel person in general. But when I was at the con and I was kind of like on the con floor and I was talking to people after, I was like, did anyone hear anything about the X-Men 97 season 2 trailer? And no one said anything. And I looked online, there was no one even describing what they saw. And I thought it was so incredibly odd. But as I was scrolling X on my personal, I was scrolling X on my personal account. I'm not really on X, but tonight I was just like, let me see what's going on in the world since I've been traveling. I got fed the X-Men 97 trailer. Someone recorded it, and we're gonna break it down. We're gonna look at it right now. I want to give a proper credit to the source. However, I don't know where the source is. It's just splattered all over online. So you can head over to X. Credit due to the person who recorded this. I don't know if they were supposed to record or not, but this trailer, it looks good. But why don't we see it together as a familia and we can break it down?
Previously on X-Men. I know more of this world than you have even dreamed. We shall forge a new one. So much pain, my children. So much death. Someday or someone yanked the X-Men through time, scattered across the past and the future. We gotta get the X-Men back to the 90s. I'm back. I fear our fate rests on a mutant who cannot be trusted. Apocalypse. Digital video discs.
I prefer Laserdisc.
It looks so good. So why don't we go through the trailer and we can break down everything. Slight spoiler warnings because obviously this has been in production for years, and if you follow along with Power of X-Men, I've heard stuff on the back end. So I just want to give a spoiler warning on everything, just in case. So I have to tell you, the lead up to introducing the trailer with these clips of Apocalypse, absolutely. I mean, it's quite chilling. Apocalypse was very terrifying in X-Men the animated series. I mean, it's not to say that in the comic books he wasn't terrifying, but in particular in X-Men 97, I mean, it was just that quote about I know more about this world than you can even dream. That is why I must destroy it. Very terrifying, very terrifying. So Apocalypse is a big deal. For those who may or may not know, Apocalypse is a big deal, and he will bring a lot of death and rebirth. Now, obviously, this is the thing that is kind of like killing me. This is the post-credit scene from X-Men 97 Season 1. So this is not new footage. So this is Apocalypse on Genosha, kind of going through the rubble, and he finds Gambit's card, and he goes, so much death, you know? Gambit's clearly coming back. Obviously, he's not being shown in this trailer. I saw a couple of comments already coming in about, like, where's Gambit? Like, they're not going to reveal Gambit, but you don't have to worry about it. Gambit's going to come back, and it's going to be a big dramatic moment and a big dramatic reunion with Rogue. Do not worry about it. That's not even concrete tea I have on the back end. That is just knowing how this franchise works, knowing how these stories are told, knowing the post-credit scene they gave. Gambit is coming back. Do not worry about it. Gambit and Rogue are too hot of an IP right now to just let Gambit stay dead. So don't worry about it. Do not worry about it, Familia. Gambit is coming back. Rest assured. That laugh. Oh, and I love how they did you see how they introduced the trailer in the Marvel logo with the song? Hang on, look at it, hear it again. Oh, it's like a little piano. Oh, so good. Very well done. Very nice touch. Very nice touch. All right, so something or someone sent the X-Men through time. I don't know if that's going to be a plot point that's going to be resolved. At the end of season one, they were pulled through time. They never addressed why they ended up in other times. Based on this trailer alone, I'm gonna have to say it's Mother Ascani because in the Adventures of Cyclops and Phoenix, that is how Cyclops and Phoenix ended up in the future. Mother Ascani ripped them from their present bodies. So as of now, the only one I can think of is Mother Ascani. But why would Mother Ascani take the X-Men to the past, right? Why wouldn't she just bring everyone into the future? So yeah, I'm wondering if that's going to get resolved. Now, this is obviously shots of ancient Egypt, and we know that those X-Men, Beast, Magneto, Xavier, Nightcrawler, and Rogue all ended up in the past with Apocalypse when he was in Saba Noor. So this is Apocalypse's beginnings. So in this trailer, how you see it's past, present, future. As we discussed, the X-Men are going to be fighting Apocalypse in the past, as in Saba Noor. They're going to be fighting him in the present, as we saw him on Genosha getting Gambit's card, and in the future. So in the Adventures of Cyclops and Phoenix, the big bad is Apocalypse. So past, present, future, the X-Men are fighting Apocalypse. And perhaps that's why Mother Ascani sends those X-Men to the past. All right, let's continue. Oh, look at Beast. Beast is analyzing. Ah, okay. And that there's ancient Egypt, and that's his Lazarus pit. So in the animated series, Apocalypse is able to rejuvenate himself by resurrecting himself through going into hibernation in his Lazarus pit, in his temple that was destroyed at the end of Beyond Good and Evil. And that's how Apocalypse ceased to exist outside of time, but then he came back via Fabian Cortez. Let's see how they address that. Oh, wow, look at this. Look at all those bodies in front of the Lazarus pit. That's dark. That is really dark. Okay, this is a homage to issue 2 of The Adventures of Cyclops and Phoenix with Slim and Red and Cable, baby Cable, or I guess he's not baby, but teen Cable. No, it's not really teen, kid Cable. How about that? And actually, this is a biblical imagery that is supposed to play homage to Mary, Joseph, and Jesus riding a donkey. So if you read The Adventures of Cyclops and Phoenix, it deals with raising Cable in the future, and he's destined to become this Messiah. There is a religious metaphor and allegory there, and that's what this is paying homage to. The original art in The Adventures of Cyclops and Phoenix, when you see it, it's a little bit more on the nose about it. And if you head over to our Instagram page on Power of X-Men, I did do a comparison with this shot. Already here it looks very animated, and they're dressed more like Cyclops is dressed more in like a headscarf and everything, and Cable's a bit younger, and so he's like on jeans. So but here it just looks really cool, and it's an adaptation of The Adventures of Cyclops and Phoenix, and we're so happy about that. I'm so happy about that. I was worried we wouldn't really get The Adventures of Cyclops and Phoenix, but as you can see right there, he's holding his hand up, and that's exactly how it happens in the comic book, verbatim. And they're not on a donkey, but they're on this bull. So it's ripped right from the comic. in the Bible, they were on a donkey. Okay. Okay, so there's Cable and there's Jean. So in the Adventures of Cyclops and Phoenix, significant time does pass with Cable, Jean, and Scott. They actually raise Cable to be like 12 years old. And it's a really big emotional story because then Scott and Jean have to go back to the present. So I think we can anticipate a goodbye between Cable and Slim and Red or Scott and Jean. Now, in the comic books, Scott and Jean don't let Cable know that they are his parents. So, in the comic book, there's this big emotional moment when the Emcron crystals come into Earth that Scott and Jean come clean to adult Cable and tell them that they were Slim and Red who raised baby Cable in the future. So I'm if they're following suit with the comics right here, he has no idea that I mean Madeline is his mom, but you know what I'm saying. He has no idea that Jean slash Madeline is his mom and that Cyclops is his father. It's very complicated talking about this clone stuff and time traveling. Yeah, so here is that Mother Scotty there? Oh no, that's just Jean. Yeah, so in the future, they're fighting Apocalypse, his forces, Strife. So, we can anticipate all of that. Now, we do know that Mother Scotty has cloned baby Cable. We've only seen Strife in the background of X-Men the anime series. I wonder if we're finally going to get confirmation on Strife existing in the X-Men 97 universe. But basically, when he was infected with the techno-organic virus and he ended up in the future, he was cloned by Mother Ascani, and Strife was that clone, and he was abducted and raised by Apocalypse's forces. Okay, so there you go. Wow, Cyclops is not effing around. Ah, I'm so excited. Look at that shot of Bishop. He looks so good. Oh, I love the facial hair. I love the M. Oh, so good. Get the X-Men back into the 90s. I love I love the 90s nostalgia, don't get me wrong, but I do want the X-Men to move forward past the 90s eventually. Like it's all fine. Remember when we were having that 80s craze a couple years ago with Stranger Things? I appreciate the 90s nostalgia, especially with the X-Men, but let's move past it eventually is all. We can accept it for now, but let's not oversaturate the franchise with it. Okay, so here's something that's going to be interesting. Here is Storm, and she's flying, and she seems to be wearing a standard training uniform and her hair in a ponytail, and she's using the weather and stuff there. Storm, and this was not revealed at the end of season one, but it's tea I kind of got on the back end. Morph Wolverine and Storm, we don't know where they ended up. They wasn't really addressed. They ended up in the future. So they're in the future, in the Ascani future, with Slim and Red and Mother Ascani. So, and I think you can kind of tell because she's wearing more like her outfit is more advanced than what you were seeing like Beast or Rogue wearing, and she has her cowl. That's in the future. She's conjuring the weather. There's some fire effects there. A lot of people are saying like, oh well, does Storm have the Phoenix? Let's put a pin on the Phoenix in this conversation. There's Wolverine with more fire around him. um, so he says, "I'm back," right? And I'm assuming this is Wolverine, and he gives a little smile, and there's like green goo everywhere. So him saying I'm back is really interesting to me because when he gets his skeleton ripped out during Fatal Attractions, which is what we saw at the end of X-Men 97 season 1, he becomes feral Wolverine. It's a whole journey for him. And I condensed that history, but him saying I'm back is going to tell me two things. One, either he just is really incapacitated the entire season and finally his healing factor kicks in and he has like he's feeling better, or Or let's see right here. Are those adamantium? Yeah, they're adamantium. So he gets relaced with this adamantium like skeleton, or he's feral Wolverine and then he gets relaced with his adamantium skeleton and he comes back to being regular Wolverine. This right here is a homage to the Frank Miller epic Wolverine issue 1 cover from the 80s. So we can anticipate he's getting his adamantium back. No need to worry. But will we see feral Wolverine in the interim is what I'm most curious about. All right, there's Jubilee and Sunspot in his X-Force outfit, and Jubilee's hair has grown out a little bit. We saw the same haircut at the end of the original animated series. It's also the hair she wears for Generation X. Yeah. Let's see if I can go back. Yeah. Look at that. Look how happy they are. They're a cute couple. I hosted a panel with Guy and Holly. Great chemistry. Both of them have some great chemistry. And Guy, I just saw him today at New York Comic Con. What a great human. All right, so there's Jean in her Grant Morrison new X-Men costume, manifesting psychic claws with Cyclops. This is exclusive 100% to X-Men 97 season 2. This hasn't really ever happened in the comics. No, I don't want to ever say it's never happened that Jean has had psychic claws manifested. Although I consider myself a Jean historian, I cannot think of a moment off the top of my head right now. However, she hasn't done that. And this to me reads what they did with Gambit and Wolverine in the trailer last time. So there you go. There you have it. And there's Cyclops in his Grant Morrison new X-Men outfit. I wonder how Slim and Red are going to deal with coming back to the present and having to leave Cable. Is their marriage going to be even more strained? And how much time passed when they were with Nathan and in the future? So let's see what the future holds for both of them. But that looks really cool. Yeah, look at that. Oh. Okay, and there's Nightcrawler in Egyptian robes, and he's fighting Egyptian bad guys. Bad guys of the Marvel Universe in Egypt, eons ago. There's Omega Red. That's great. Who's that? That looked like a little Phalanx, Warlocky to me. There's Cable with a hat and his eye shining. And there is Sunspot in his X-Force costume. Does that mean we are getting X-Force? I want a high-octane Rob Liefeld X-Force spinoff for X-Men 97. Thank you. As well as a Generation X and an X-Factor. Thank you, thank you. Colossus is back, officially. There's Colossus. Colossus in his beater, which is what he wore in the series. This one surprised me. Didn't know she was coming. There is a danger. Danger from Astonishing X-Men. So they're meshing a lot of stories. Danger is not from any 90s storytelling. She's from the Joss Whedon era. So post Grant Morrison, early aughts. And she is the manifestation of the Danger Room. Yeah. Look at her. Oh, she looks so cool. I hope we get a new Marvel Legends with her. There is Polaris and Xavier. Let's see where things go with Polaris. I don't want to spoil anything here, but as we've already discussed, I've heard on the back end, even though it was air quote leaked that Neve Campbell was going to voice her, Neve Campbell is no longer in the X-Men 97 Season 2 production. So I think someone else is going to be stepping in on that role. But look at that. That's so cool. Polaris needs a good plot story. So excited. Now, I wasn't too sure who all of these characters were off the bat, but I asked on the back end. So I'm only reporting what I was told on the back end. Obviously, this is Kid Omega, and obviously, this is Penance, right? So this individual here on the right and her on the left are supposed to be the two kids who get killed at the beginning of God Loves, Man Kills. That is what I was told. And I believe this person in the center is Wing. And that's really interesting that Wing is here, especially given his history with Danger. And if you know, you know, slight spoiler warning, Danger is responsible for Wing, unaliving himself in the comic. So, very interesting little group of mutants we have here. And, Penance turns out to be M, and Kid Omega dies a few times. So, this group, I just want to tell them run the other way, go into another universe. Very excited to see how many more cameos we can get. Psylocke and Archangel, how great is that? I wonder how they're going to be incorporated. The big question mark is it Betsy or is it Quanon? I know on like a card out there they called her Quanon in the bio, but the Betsy we previously saw in X-Men 90 or in X-Men the animated series back in the 90s version, it was heavily implied that it was Betsy. I don't believe her name was ever given, like Betsy Braddock, but they gave more than enough cues that it was our Betsy. So let's see where it goes. But there's Warren Worthington. I hope it's really them and not an apparition or Morph impersonating them. There was X Factor right there. Wolfsbane, Strong Guy, Polaris, Multiple Man, and Havoc. So excited. All right, so when we said let's put a pin on the Phoenix, this is Mother Scotty right there. She's older looking woman with the hound marks right there and the Phoenix. Now, is she manifesting the Phoenix or is she looking at the Phoenix coming at her? Let's see. Oh, I thought it was a little longer. Oh, she's manifesting the Phoenix. That's a manifestation of the Phoenix if I ever did see one. Yeah, totally a manifestation. Not second guessing it. So excited for that. Oh, looks so great. Okay, that's a new look for Apocalypse. He looks a little bit more Bastion coated there. Okay, pass. Future, present. Oh, okay, I got what they did there. Yeah, with Apocalypse, obviously. It's future, present, pass. So that's how he's going to look in the Ascani timeline. That's how he looks in the present. And that's how he looks in the past. X-Men 97 Season 2. And it looks like we'll get a dedicated Wolverine episode with his entire cast. Sabretooth, Morph, and Lady Deathstrike. There we go. There's Morph in a newer costume and Lady Deathstrike. All right, let's see what they say here. Everything's so blurry. Phantom X there. Aurora. Let's see what else do we have there. It's too blurry to see everything, but obviously we will. Ant right there. Sabretooth, very excited. Lots of Easter eggs coming our way. Very cute. So we'll see how Morph and Wolverine continue this season. Lady Deathstrike coming into the mix. Lady Deathstrike is such a great villain. Guys, I'm so excited for this. I think this looks great. What do you guys think? Drop your feels below. Credit due to whoever posted this online, but Familia, let us know your feels down below in the comments. Thank you for engaging on Power of X-Men, and you can hit that subscribe button. You can ring that notification bell, but beyond anything, just tell us your feels in those comments. All right, bye guys.